Welcome back to Grown, Tired, and Triggered. I'm your host, Jessica Nicole. And if you're new here, this podcast is a space where we talk about real parenthood, healing, and everything that triggered us along the way. Now, I didn't plan to talk about this one so soon, but I think it's needed. Today's episode is called When My Kids Said I Wasn't a Safe Space. And let me tell you, that one stung deep. Because as parents, especially those of us who've done it solo for a while, we really believe we're doing everything right, keeping our kids safe, teaching them structure, love, respect, and responsibility. So when your own child looks at you and say, you're not a safe space, it hit different. So before I even get to that moment, let me give you the backstory because I want to be honest about how we even got there. In my house, I wear more than one hat. I'm mom, but I'm also the homeschool teacher, the motivator, and the reminder system. So when I'm working with my girls, I don't just bark orders. I set clear expectations. I ask questions and I check for understanding. I'll say things like, tell me in your own words what that means. Or explain to me how you got that answer. Because I can't know what you don't know if you don't say anything. I show patience the first 7 times, explaining, modeling, and giving examples. But by time number 10, you know, my patience is pretty much near the end. My tone changes. Not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. I have other responsibilities, other things pulling at me. And when I finally raise my voice or grab that belt, now they want to listen. Now they want to do the work. It's frustrating because it shouldn't have to reach that point. It's unnecessary stress on me as a parent, and it's unnecessary stress on them as the child. That's the part that I don't understand. You know how it's going to turn out. Why do we have to go there? I shouldn't have to get out of bed for you to do what you need to do. That's the part that makes it the most frustrating and not being respectful of the other person's time. So on this particular day, I was getting on my youngest about cleaning her room and schoolwork. The same cycle. After I back and forth, she went outside to talk to her big sister. A few minutes later, they both came back in and said, Mom, can we talk? I said, sure, thinking it's going to be something small. But this conversation hit different. My oldest, Anaya, started by bringing up something from when she was in elementary school. She said, Mom, you remember when you came up to the school and took me to the restroom and whooped me? And I remember. I do. The teacher had called saying she was acting out again. And at that time, I thought what I was doing was the right thing. I wanted her to understand that there were consequences. But hearing her bring it up now, years later, it shows that the lesson wasn't what stuck. That moment did. The embarrassment, the fear, the memory. Then both my girls looked at me and said, Mom, when you talk to us, it's always in your right voice. You're not patient with us. They said, reread your body language. And my youngest added, y'all are overprotective. We shouldn't get whoopings. We're not animals. Then my oldest looked right at me and said, that's why I don't talk to you. I don't feel safe. But they talk to me about everything else. But I guess it's the deep things that they don't feel safe. But overall, that one sentence felt like a punch in the guts. Because as a mom, especially a mom who was a single parent for 6 or 7 years, I prided myself on being there, on being open, being consistent, and having clear expectations. So hearing my child say she doesn't feel safe with me. So in that moment, I had two options. I could get defensive or I could listen. And honestly, I chose to listen. I wanted to understand where they were coming from. I repeated back what I heard. That they felt I was too serious, too structured, too quick to discipline, that my body language made them shut down. And I acknowledged it because they were right about some of it. I stay in rope mode so much that sometimes my tone doesn't match my intention. They hear pressure when I mean protection. They see stern when I mean structure. I realized that my children didn't always need me to fix everything. Sometimes they just need me to feel with them. So I told them, as long as you have a safe adult to talk to, I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, I want them to have outlets. That's why I'm big on therapy for children. Not because I don't want to be their person. It's not the reason. But because I know sometimes it's easier to open up to someone who isn't mom. And that's perfectly okay. All right, so that day changed something in me. I stopped trying to be the perfect parent. I started focusing on being a present parent. Now, that doesn't mean I let everything slide. Not at all. There's still structure, there's still accountability. But I try to lead more with grace and a little less grip. Parenthood is a constant balance between protecting your peace and protecting your child's heart. And sometimes those two things collide. So, if you're a parent listening and your child has ever told you you're not a safe space, you don't take it as failure. Take it as an opportunity to pause, to reflect, and try again with a softer heart. Because when it stings, those hard conversations are where growth starts. Thank you again for joining me for this episode of Grown, Tired, and Triggered. If this message hit home, share it with another parent who might need to hear it today. Don't forget to follow the podcast on YouTube, Real Life with Jessica Nicole, and on all our platforms under Grown, Tired, and Triggered. And remember, You're doing better than you think. You are growing. You are human. And it's okay to be grown, tired, and triggered.